With the release of Oblivion and the rumored official remaster, I decided to complete the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion for the very first time. This game released when I was in kindergarten, and by the time I could read full sentences, Skyrim was already out. I tried Oblivion last year and just didn't really like it. With the new remasters, I knew in my soul, if I didn't play the classic Oblivion now, I never would. To ensure I couldn't back out, I had the brilliant idea to stream the entire thing and beat it in a single sitting. And I mean that literally, one sitting. You can check, I didn't even get up to use the bathroom. That wasn't intentional, that can't be healthy, right? We start off this adventure with a fresh new character, Jonathan Fortnite Jr., the descendant of the infamous Jonathan Fortnite from my first ever Morrowind playthrough. We take some time to bring him to life with the best part of this game.
We can make him really old. Oh my god, that is just a sad, sad state of affairs. Oh, he looks like he's almost dead. Kind of feel bad for making him this ugly.
I get insulted by this piece of Dunmer garbage.
Can we kill this guy? Like, is there a way to kill him?
But don't you worry, we come back for him later. Unlike Skyrim, I have no idea why I've been arrested. Luckily, the Elder Scrolls plot armor comes in clutch. The Emperor has dreamed about me and lets me follow him down a super secret door in my dungeon cell. He's being pursued by some mysterious assassins, but we don't know who or what their goals are, yet. After venturing down the sewers a bit more, the Emperor pulls us aside to have a chat and gives us the Amulet of Kings, an artifact he says can't be allowed to fall into the wrong hands. Classic Bethesda foreshadowing. I wonder what is possibly going to happen. As soon as he gives us his drip, an assassin spawns from the wall and one-shots him. Luckily, the guards came in to help because I was tickling this guy. After that, we're prompted to create a class, and since I have no idea what I'm doing, I let the fine 300 or so people who tuned in do it for me. If you have a problem with this build, it's not my fault, okay? I didn't make it. We are then bombarded with side quests on repeat, so much so I could barely move.
Oh, right, I gotta click through a million of these.
But eventually, we find our way out of the prison. Our next objective is to locate a priest named Joffrey who knows the location of the king's secret son, Martin, who now has the best claim to the throne. Martin's in Kvatch, and for some reason in Oblivion, you can just fast travel anywhere you want. Like, you don't even have to discover it first. Quite a jarring transition from Morrowind, to say the least, but it did likely save me over an hour of walking during the main story, so I'm not going to complain too much, but it does seem a little overkill. Anyway, Kvatch is under siege. An elf runs up to me with some pretty good voice acting.
You know, respect to this voice actor, this guy is going crazy with it.
I'm telling you, run when you can!
I was caught a little off guard by the fact that we're going into an Oblivion portal right away. I'm level 1, and this is like the second or third mission of the main story, but we head up the hill to the city and take in our first ever Oblivion Gate.
My first ever Oblivion Gate in my entire life. What the fuck is this? Oh, Daedra.
While fighting some scamps, I get another random quest. Luckily, I was live streaming and people informed me this was DLC, or I would have just assumed this was the main quest. This is an issue I have with Oblivion, but we'll talk about that later in my first impression segment. Anyway, the captain immediately trusts a lizard still wearing his prison garments to assist him in closing the portal. He also tells us Martin is Kvatch's town priest and is hiding in the chapel of Akatosh. Hint hint. As I approach the portal, I almost die to a single scamp.
Oh my god, I almost died. Okay, I definitely need to quick save more often.
This is foreshadowing for my adventure through Oblivion's atrocious level scaling. Again, we'll talk about this later. No need to warn me in the comments, I figured out what was going on eventually. We meet some more of the town guard inside this portal, but no one really seems to know how to close it. There's a mysterious tower in the middle of the instance, of which I assume with my Sherlock Holmes powers, has the solution. I venture forth, only to die instantly.
I died. That is crazy. I don't know if I've ever died in an Elder Scrolls game that fast before.
It takes me a few attempts to clear the ground floor. When I eventually do, I am only to be disappointed that the enemies that are clearly well equipped with armor don't drop any.
Okay, we got him. Please tell me he has good armor. Nope. Classic.
We eventually find a dude trapped in a cell who tells us we can close the gates by removing something called a sigil stone. Battling our way up the tower, we find it, grab it, and watch the tower come crumbling down. With the captain's help, we clear out the town of scamps and go on to rescue the townsfolk, including Mr. Sean Bean.
It's Sean Bean!
At this point, we pick up the side quest Battle for Castle Kavach. As with most of these side quests, I let my chat vote on if I should skip it or do it. The resounding majority for this one was yes, so I go back in and finish it up. This quest doesn't really contribute anything to the main story, but it did show me how crazy this game's AI can be.
Why are these guys fighting each other? I thought they were my friends. Oh! What the fuck is going on in this game?
Along with my first real lesson in this game's scaled leveling.
Look at this damage! Like, what's the point? I can't even do this side quest. I'm tickling this guy. I'm tickling him.
Most of my chat recommended lowering the difficulty, but I refuse to do it. For this entire campaign, I keep the difficulty at the suggested level no matter how hard it gets. Call it stubbornness, call it crazy, but we Skyrim players get a lot of flack for our game being too easy, so I'm doing this for us Zoomers. We push on. We grab the ring from the Count, try and fail to find a morsel of decent loot in this instance, and return the ring to the captain, who gets a little too excited.
Why'd he get naked? What?
We fast travel back to the Priory to speak with Joffrey, but find it's under attack by cultists. He stored the Amulet of Kings in a secret room.
Okay. Oh. Oblivion moment?
But unfortunately, the cultists found the amulet and stole it. Who saw that plot twist coming? Not me. We escort Martin to a secret base in the mountains called Cloud Ruler Temple. Here, he is put under protection of the Blades, and we say our final goodbyes. However, I must continue on my quest for the stolen amulet. Joffrey gives me a tip about an undercover Blades member named Boris in the capital. So, it's time to check out the Imperial City for the very first time. I do a little bit more exploring before I meet up with Boris, who's almost assassinated himself. From the corpse of the murderer, I find the first edition of Mythic Dawn Commentaries, a book belonging to the cult that killed the Emperor and stole the amulet. I learned there are 4 editions, and I must collect them all to locate their secret base. The second is gathered from an Argonian scholar. The third can be yoinked off a collector if you tell him the cult was the one to murder the Emperor.
What?
The final edition is gathered off a cultist leader in the sewers. However, I forgot to quick save and had to do it all over again.
Oh my god, I don't think I autosaved. God damn it. Please tell me it autosaved. I don't know how far back this is. Oh, it's really far. This is the start of the sewers.
You'd think I'd have learned a thing or two from Morrowind, eh? Anyway, after several attempts...
No!
I was finally able to clear the instance despite my weapon being as deadly as a pool noodle. Gathered the last book and attempted to solve the riddle myself. One of the downsides of playing this game live is that if I don't solve these puzzles right away, someone is going to tell me. If you go back in the stream, I don't even think it was a full minute before people started telling me the solutions, but that's okay. I'm on a bit of a time crunch anyway. Going to the secret location at the right time of day reveals a map of the secret Mythic Dawn base. Time to infiltrate the cult.
Dawn is breaking.
Okay.
Our clothes and gear are removed, and we attend a secret ceremony performed by the man himself, Mankar Cameron. He's definitely got the Emperor's bling around his neck, so I know we're in the right place. Before I can grab it from him, he opens up a portal and dips. However, he leaves behind a powerful tome called the Mysterium Xarxes, which I need to bring back to the Blades.
Oh, shit. Okay. My bad.
The only way to grab it is to sacrifice a fellow Argonian.
Oh. No, it's an Argonian!
Something I do not take lightly. I try to do everything I can to ensure he lives. I try to just steal the book. I try to free him.
Yes?
I try everything, but after several save scums, he either dies by my hand or gets crushed by the statue of Maroon's Dagon. -1 point for Oblivion here. I will not tolerate any more Argonian hate after Morrowind. Anyway, I yoink the book, kill the guy who has my gear, and head back to the Cloud Ruler Temple. I give Martin the Mysterium Xarxes to study, but while he's doing that, I need to kill some spies lurking about, infiltrate their hideout, and crash the game.
Yeah, this might be a crash. Oh, great.
Martin then asks me for something interesting. Any Daedric artifact of my choice to be destroyed and used to open the portal. I don't know why I really like this. Morrowind has a similar thing where Caius tells you to just join any guild in advance before you can continue with the main story. It just feels like a fun way to add some diversity to the main campaign. As I do with most of these decisions, I let my chat vote, and the majority decided on the Wabajak, Sheogorath's artifact. This was a pretty quick but funny mission. You basically had to make a town go crazy. Unfortunately, this quest requires lockpicking. Don't even get me started on this shit mechanic. If you tuned in, you know how much I despise this system.
These should be working. Damn it.
Anyway, after some divine intervention, we get the cheese, cause a rat infestation, poison some sheep, and make it rain dogs. Quest complete, we now have the Wabajak. How do you guys say that, by the way? Is it Wabajak or Wabajak? Not counting that Daedric artifact quest, the next few are basically just simple fetch quests with not a huge amount of storytelling. Close an Oblivion gate, which we've already done several times at this point, free some ancient spirits and locate the armor of Talos, and finally gather a great Welkin stone. I'm not kidding, that's over 2 hours of content that can be summarized in a couple words. Equipped with the ancient armor of Talos, Martin is ready to assist us with a great Oblivion gate just outside of Bruma. This is another fetch quest to grab a great sigil stone, but it does have some important stories, so I won't skip as much. Basically, we have to let the Mythic Dawn open a massive portal to allow me to get inside and grab this last piece. In this quest, we're on a time limit before the siege engine exit the portal, so it was a bit of a mad dash. We make our way inside, up the towers.
Excuse me? What just happened there? Why did that happen?
But quickly realize these enemies are way too tough for me.
Oh, I'm dead. Huh. That guy's a little bit tougher than he is in other games.
These Clanfears give me so much trouble, and I still don't really know why, but my genius solution is to just run away from all the enemies before my time runs out. Ran into a little bit of trouble with lockpicking on the final door.
Okay, we're almost at the top. There's a guy here. Oh, he's blocking me. No, you bastard. You bastard. I don't know if I want to play anymore. I'm being completely serious.
But we eventually made it.
Give me this! Give me it! Holy shit.
Now that we have all these special items, Martin is able to open a portal to Mankar Cameron's pocket plane of Oblivion. This area was very unique, unlike anything I'd seen in a single-player Elder Scrolls game, but it did remind me of the Somerset Isles from the Elder Scrolls Online. Turns out, Mankar's not super great to his disciples. Who would have guessed that? Giving them immortality, yes, but also to be perpetually hunted by the creatures of this garden. We're told there is a way to exit, through something called the Forbidden Grotto. To get there, we have to fight several Clanfears.
I'm dead. Fuck.
Along with the Gatekeeper, who's ironically easier. Now comes my final hour of judgment. Making my way through the flooded grotto. I almost quit the game here. I don't know how many times I died, but it was only to Clanfears, all the while Mankar is yapping in my fucking ear about his dom daddy. Jokes aside, I was extremely tilted. If you go back in the livestream, I'm either cursing up a storm or dead silent. The crux of this issue, of course, is Oblivion scaled content, which I will talk about later, but as I said at the start, I refuse to lower the difficulty, like a moron. Luckily, I met a dude in here who also wants to kill Mankar. He's an immortal wizard, so no matter how many times he dies, he always comes back to help me. So I basically run around in circles while he deals with the adult Clanfears. It was now time for the final battle, me and my new best friend against Mankar Cameron. Ironically, this fight was much easier than fighting a single adult Clanfear. I think I killed him in my first attempt, but died to his children before they could despawn.
I got him. And no, I died! No!
It takes me a few more tries. But we eventually take him down and reclaim the Amulet of Kings.
Oh my god, we did it. I did it. Holy shit. That was fucking crazy.
We return the amulet to Martin, who then is appointed to be the next Emperor of Cyrodiil in the capital city. Upon getting there, the city falls under siege to Maroon's Dagon himself.
Do I fight him?
Knowing we're hopelessly outmatched, Martin crushes the Amulet of Kings and turns himself into an aspect of Akatosh to duke it out with the Prince of Destruction.
Oh, wait. He stabbed him. Damn, this is cool. Is he dead? Turn into a statue.
The amulet is shattered.
With Martin's noble sacrifice, Tamriel is saved in just under 9 hours, which marks the end of my quest through Oblivion's main campaign. Now is the time in the video where millennials, Gen X, and boomers start quaking in their boots. What's this zoomer gonna say about my favorite game? Does he dare defile the grace of Todd Howard and his creation? Not for the next few minutes, at least. I'm gonna split my first impressions into the good and the bad. And we're starting off with the best of the good, the side content. But before we get started with the strengths and weaknesses of Oblivion, this video took me over 40 hours to make, so if you want to see more content like this, make sure to drop me a like and consider subscribing. I put a lot of work into these videos in addition to working a full-time job, so they're hard to get out in a timely manner, but your support means the world to me. Okay, let's get started with the first impressions. Before I even started the main story, I was getting loads of side quest recommendations. What I decided to do was separate the content into two streams. One dedicated to the main story, which we just went through, but another dedicated to the top 7 voted side quests. Donators got extra votes, so some of the top 7 were meme missions that were purposefully bad, but hey, at least I wasn't just playing the cream of the crop. Combining both streams, I played around 7 hours of side quests, plus the Dark Brotherhood faction, which I finished off camera, took around 6 more. I think, without question, Oblivion's side content is the largest contributor to this game's acclaim. I'm going to talk about the things I don't like in a bit, but this content brought the game from something I wouldn't play again to something I would play again. The side quests, when they don't break, are amazing. Unlike Fallout 3, for example, I can see myself coming back to Oblivion just for these. I'm sure I've barely scratched the surface of what this game offers side content-wise, but if you'd like to see those quests in a little more detail, I'll have a link down below. I think the voice acting in Oblivion is the best of any Bethesda game I've played so far. Granted, I've only played 4 on this channel, and 2 didn't have any voice acting at all. But I will openly admit, I think it's much better than Skyrim's. The voice actors are more passionate, and I feel like they cared more when doing their lines. To play devil's advocate, there's like 6 voice actors. You hear the same people over and over and over again. There's one woman who does like 90% of the females in this game. I recognized her voice from Morrowind. I think she did most of the women in that game too. Let me know who she is in the comments, because she should have got paid more than Sean Bean. She puts in a lot of work. And the music, the music is just fucking awesome, but that's a given with Jeremy's Soul. You wouldn't expect anything less, but it definitely does deserve a shout out. I think the Radiant AI is a really cool system. I can appreciate the impact it had back in the day. If NPCs are hungry, they'll try and hunt. Lawful citizens are more likely to report you for your crimes. I still have barely scraped the iceberg. But, in all honesty, a lot of the cultural significance this system has is lost on me. Newer RPGs tend to have systems like this. The most robust would be like Kingdom Come, Red Dead, Mountain Blade, or Watch Dogs, for all of its failures, did market their AI a lot. Cyberpunk's pretty close. Shadow of War, one of my favorite games of all time, has the best AI system ever made. I can appreciate what the Radiant AI system did for the gaming industry, but to me, in Oblivion, it's a little dated. I think a fair amount of people feel that way too, especially when it comes to dialogue. There's a reason Oblivion NPC conversations are massive memes. They're really not natural or realistic in any way, and that's why people find them so funny. Finally, the scale of the towns and cities I thought was phenomenal. Towns felt like towns. Cities felt like cities. They were appropriately populated and designed in a way that surpasses any of the other Elder Scrolls games I've played. Like Coral, a random town is almost larger than Whiterun, one of the supposed largest cities of Skyrim. These settlements are huge. I feel like you could spend 12 hours easily and still not find everything they offer. That's another huge reason I'd like to return to Oblivion. There's an insane amount of stuff packed into each of these locations, and there's so many of them. There's also a wide variety of biomes, which is quite interesting for an Elder Scrolls game. Morrowind is like 90% ash, and Skyrim is 90% snow. The world of Oblivion is significantly more diverse and interesting to explore. Okay, let's talk about the things I thought weren't super great. First off, Oblivion is the buggiest game I have ever played in my life, and I played Skyrim on the PlayStation 3. I was floored at the fact that this Game of the Year edition is just riddled with bugs, glitches, and is insanely crash-prone. It would destroy quests completely. A side quest called Hack Dirt was highly rated for me to try. It just didn't work. I've obviously never played this game before, so I don't know what was supposed to happen, but my chat was like, yeah, just move on, it's not gonna work. Cheers, Oblivion. Thank you for that. Don't even get me started on how many times it crashed in the main story and set my progress back. It's just a mess. Now I know what some of you are already typing. You should have played with mods. You should have used the community patch. But then it's not my first impressions of Oblivion, is it? It's a review of a perfected product not released by Bethesda. Next time I play this game, will I use mods? You bet your ass. There's actually no universe in this reality where I play Oblivion without the fixes it needs. But for a first impression, I think it's journalistically important to keep it as faithful as possible. With this video, my goal was to give my first impressions of Oblivion, not someone's fix for it. The second thing I don't like about this game, you know it, I know it, it's the scaling. I actually don't think there's much value in me talking about this at all, since everyone seems to agree it's horrid. If you're a subscriber of mine, and like me, you've never played Oblivion, the easiest way for me to describe it is it's like the Elder Scrolls Online, but you're more weak than you are strong. Instead of one-shotting mobs the entire time you play, you're doing no damage to mobs the entire time you play. During my 26 hours or so of Oblivion, I never felt once like I was getting more powerful. Two-handed, blunt, blade, one-handed, and shield. I tried most of the melee weapons in this game. They do not feel different at all. I assume that has to do with the atrocious scaling, but I don't even know at this point. I think Oblivion's main story might be the weakest of the Elder Scrolls games I've played. Not counting Daggerfall, that game's just... no. But Oblivion's main story feels a little two-dimensional or formulaic. You're immediately handed a MacGuffin and a plotline that never really wavers. The Emperor lays out the entire story for you in the first few minutes, and it's exactly what you do. From the tutorial dungeon to the final attack, the goal never shifts. The stakes are already at a maximum. You just need to find out who to assassinate. Your character also doesn't grow as the story unfolds around you. In Morrowind, you slowly uncover your identity as the Nerevarine. In Skyrim, you learn you're Dragonborn and grapple with what that means. But in Oblivion, the Emperor tells you you're a chosen one of some kind, but it's never realized or explored. I've heard the DLCs touch on this a bit, please don't spoil it for me, but as far as the main story goes, it feels like it needed to pick a lane. Either make me a nameless hero, or make me the chosen one. It's stuck somewhere in between and feels awkward for an Elder Scrolls game. Again, to play devil's advocate, I don't think it's a horrible campaign by any measure. The last hour or so was awesome. Ignoring the combat and scaling of that last push, Mankar has a really cool final monologue where he kind of proposes the plausible reality that we've been abandoned by the gods. Tamriel is some kind of Daedric realm and everything we know is false. I thought it was pretty thought-provoking. When I wasn't being torn apart by clan fears, that is. His boss fight was a little disappointing, but the final siege of the Imperial City was wicked. Really cool to see Maroon's Dagon stomping around and the aspect of Akatosh. My final complaint is about the visual fidelity, specifically with the people. I think, graphically, Morrowind holds up better than Oblivion. Morrowind didn't go for ultra-realism in a time when computers couldn't handle it. It has a different and more charming art style, and that keeps it kind of timeless. Oblivion, I don't know what they were going for here. The facial animations to convey emotions are quite frankly frightening. The environment is shiny, like they plastered a shiny glow on everything, which is kind of weird. However, the terrain, architecture, and environment I think hold up much better. It's just the people. It's nightmare fuel for me. They're like lifeless puppets. I don't like it. It creeped me out, but you can probably chalk that one up to a Zoomer take. For my final conclusion, would I play the 2006 Oblivion again? Probably not. This adventure has made it very clear to me why Skyblivion has so much traction and popularity. I think this project is going to rocket Oblivion past Skyrim. Like, even Skyrim's most devoted fans will have to admit it's gonna slap. Oblivion, frankly, has a more interesting and diverse world, its side content is really strong, it's just held back by its age. Mix that with Skyrim's combat, scaling engine, and add modded spellcrafting, it's just a recipe for perfection. I don't see a reason to return to this version with 2 potential remasters on the horizon. Now that's more talking about the 2006 Oblivion as a whole. The 2 reasons I would return are for the side content and the DLC, because people tell me the Oblivion DLC is the best in any Elder Scrolls game. Seeing as the remasters probably won't cover that content, at least at the start, it's possible I return for that. My primary issue with this game is the combat and scaling. I'm sure the DLC is really good, I just don't want to interact with Oblivion's basic mechanics, which unfortunately is like 90% of the game. I'm not a great modder, but if you guys have a Wabbajack mod pack suggestion that quote-unquote fixes Oblivion, let me know, and I promise you I'll give the DLC a shot if we hit 4,000 likes. I've already done my review of base game Oblivion, so as far as I'm concerned, if I do a first impressions of the DLC, it'll just be about the content, not mechanics. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way until this point. It probably took me over 40 hours to make, so I really hope you enjoyed. Next video will be my first attempts of Morrowind's Blood Moon DLC, then probably Fallout New Vegas. If you're interested in watching my blind attempts of these older games, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.